Okay, so today one of the more famous of the shlokas of the Gita, 2.58, and it is famous because of the image that it gives, a very Indologic or Indic image, but a very yogically appropriate image, and it's very significant. If you have noticed, the whole chapter till now, we have not had too many imagery. In the Gita, there's more content, what is called logopia when you're talking, meaning, substance, logos, and imagery that is for the eyes, that doesn't come too much. But once in a while, Ved Vyasa will throw in an image and then move quickly, because his job is not to do poetry for the sake of poetry and give us images and then be very, elaborate with the imagery, but his job is to use the image to illustrate a point and then move on very quickly. And that is a very interesting characteristic of Ved Vyasa, especially in the Gita. In the Mahabharata, of course, people had a lot of original Mahabharata was 24,000 lines. That is what we are told, but then it has now swelled to 100,000 lines, because everybody who wanted to add to it put some lines into it, created new narratives, new stories inside the Mahabharata, because in those days you could do that, and if you did that, immediate acceptance, because Mahabharata was truly the national epic like the Ramayana. But coming back to the Gita, this is a unique characteristic of the poetry. Imagery is minimized. Few images are given, except when you come to chapter 11, where it's all imagery, where the Vishwarupa is shown, Sri Krishna's great universal form is seen. Then it's imagery for a sustained period. Here, short image, and you move on, because you have understanding to be clarified. But later it goes from understanding to vision, to direct seeing. And that's where the perception comes in, then the description of the Vishwarupa. So let's try to read this. Yada samharte chayam. So the way we will pronounce it is Yada samhara te chayam kurmo ganiva sarvashah. Kurma is a tortoise, kachua. Kurmonganiva sarvashah. Indriyanindriyarthebhyah. Indriyanindriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. So, of course, Veda Vyasa loves to repeat words and play with the sounds. So he has used indriyani and indriyarthe bhyah. So, and he has combined them in a sandhi. So, indriyani with I becomes indriyani indriyarthebhyah. So, I know it's a little tongue twister. You'll have to go practice a little bit, and we'll do that. But it will make you morally very strong once you have done that. You will develop a new sense of your own accomplishment, and you'll feel good about life once you have pronounced it. So let's try that. Yada is when. I think we have come across this in the past. And Sri Krishna loves this. Yada, you do this, this happens. Whenever you do this, this happens. So he loves that. Yada samharate chayam. Samhara. Hara we have talked about in the past. Hara is to take. Apaharan. Harana. So samharate. Sam is together. Samharate. When you bring it together, it's a verb. It's a verb which means to bring together. Samharate cha ayam. Ayam is this. Cha is and ayam. So yada samharate chayam. Kurma, we talked about kurma, is a kachua, is a tortoise. Anga, you know anga, limbs. Angani, angani is his limbs, limbs. Iva is whenever you give an example. Like, whenever like a tortoise. Iva. Sarvashaha is all from everywhere. And this is really a very beautiful image and very appropriate. And we will come to the yogic part of it. Indriyani. Indriyani is for the indriya. Indriyarthebhyaha. Through the indriya. So, indriyarthebhya is the matras, the vishayas that the indriyas take in, all the sense, all the energies that come in sound, that come in light, that come in touch. Indriya, arthebhya is for. So if I say namah sarvebhyaha, means I bow to all of you. So towards. Indriya arthebhya means towards the indri or for the indri. If we do the vibhaktis, you will see it is the plural vibhakti. Tasya is his, belonging to someone. The sixth vibhakti. Tasya. Prajna, you know, now you know already. It's an enlightened knowledge. Buddhi that is truly awakened. Pratishtita. Again, your tisht has come back. And this sthapita or tishtha will come in the next shlokas again and again. Actually, Robert Miner has written that 9 out of the 18 shlokas have the sound stha established. Sthita prajna, constantly this thing, Sri Krishna will keep bringing this. So, what does it mean? As a tortoise pulls back its limbs into the shell, right? Pulls back. In the same way, the one or when you pull your senses back from all its contacts, then you are a sthit prajna. Then your wisdom, your intuition, your higher intelligence is established. So think of, remember, now we have 3-4 definitions of sthit prajna. If you go back to the previous ones, and we will go back to that, and he's giving us different ways to understand it. So when you are able to withdraw your senses from everything, all the matras, as we call them in the tanamatras, all the different energies that are coming to your senses, when you are able to withdraw it and hold it like a tortoise holds everything in its shell, that's a beautiful image, then you're established. It's a very clear yogic description. Are we able to withdraw our senses from their contacts? That is one test. Nothing should bother you. Nothing is moving. All energy. If you are sitting in the most crowded place and still you are withdrawn, you can pull back your senses. Then your intelligence is established. So let's see what Sri Aurobindo translates it as. That's it. Who draws away the senses from the objects of sense? Who draws the senses away who draws away the senses from the objects of sense, as the tortoise draws in his limbs into the shell. His intelligence sits firmly founded in wisdom. So really a very beautiful definition, very precise, clear-cut, which you can confirm, which you can do, and if you're able to do it, then it's a very scientific, precise definition. Not objective as we have outside in the world, but subjective. You know when you can pull it back that your intelligence is getting established, firmly founded in wisdom. So I think it's one of the most deservedly popular or well-known shlokas of the Gita. And I think we should all spend some time on it and dwell on it. And let's see if we can, examples of senses and objects of sense, Rahulji is asking. Let's come to that. Let's come to Swami Brahmanandji, listen to the beautiful recitation, and then I'll come back to it, I promise. Let's go for it. That's really beautiful. That was just amazing. And the joy of the Sanskrit, the joy of the sounds, the mantra starts giving us a sense of completeness. Yada samharate chayam. And I'll spend a little bit more time on the patha because I know the third pada you will find it a little difficult. But with practice it will come. Kurmo gani vasarvasha. This should be easy, I think. Yada samharate chayam kurmo gani vasarvasha. Now, here break it. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah. So, Indriyani indriyarthebhyah. So, Indriyani nindriyarthebhyah. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Let's, if you don't mind, let's play Swami Brahmanandji again. Sorry to keep doing that, but let's see how beautifully he has used it. So I think first, second, and fourth will be easy for you. Now, who wants to be brave? Okay, Pankaj, let's go for it.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyani nindriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita.
Beautiful. What a job. Great job. I see the next hand is Ashish ji, so I'll go for it.
Yada samharte chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita.
Good. So when you do yada samhara, let's spend a little more time on the hara, ra. Samhara te chayam, right? Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashah. Don't forget the visarga. Sarvashah. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah. Thebhyah. Remember there is a visarg there which becomes the sa. And when it comes, the ya, visarga, and tasya become one. So it becomes a sandhi. But you have to separate it because the pada has ended. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Someone had asked me why the visarga is separate before a sa sound, and here you have merged it. Well, that's the fun of Sanskrit. Usually, when you pronounce it, you will separate it. So your visarga sound becomes separate. Okay, now I have Jidesh. Jidesh, you go for it.
यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Very good. Indriyani, indriyarthebhyah. Take your time with the long sounds. No rush. Very good. You want to do that again, the third pada?
Yeah. इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
Good.
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Wonderful. All right, Amal Kiranji, it's your turn now.
All right. Yada samharate chayam kūrmōṅgānīva sarvashah indriyāni indriyārthebhyah tasya prajñā pratishtita.
Beautiful. You guys are getting good at it. Hemantji, I think your turn next.
यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Wow, you guys are getting, I'm impressed. I was wondering if you will be able to do it. Most of you are able to get it. Rajesh ji, your turn.
Yes, sir. Yada samharte chayam kurmonganiv sarvashah indriyanindriyadyarthebhya tasya pragya pratishtita.
Good. Just spend a little more time on the longer swaras. So good. Rahulji, did you do it already or your second time on?
No, I first time I'm going to give it a try.
Okay, go for it.
Yada samharate chayam kurmugani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhya tasya prajna pratishtita.
So don't forget the visarga after ya. Indriyani indriyarthebhya. Ha. Okay, your air has to come out. You're pushing it out. Visarga, you're creating. Visarjaniya, you're creating a world with the sound. Don't forget that. And pragya, I know everybody's having a problem. Prajna, pragya, prajna. Try to practice prajna, janya, prajna, if you can. If you
Prajna.
go to a Sanskrit vidwan and you do your patha, then they should be able to say, oh, he comes from the great tradition of Sri Krishna and Sri Aurobindo. His pronunciation is perfect. All right, Swatiji, let's go for it.
Can you just repeat the last, the Indriyani part of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Indriyani.
So break it. Indriyani and indriyarthebhyah.
Indriyani, indriyanirthebhya.
Yeah, let's do it again. Indriyani.
Indriyani,
Indriyarthebhyah.
Indriyarthebhya.
Thebhyah.
Indriyarthebhya.
Okay. Indriyarthebhyah.
Indriyarthebhya.
Bhyah.
Indriyarthebhya.
Shabash. Very good. Let's do it.
Yada samharte chayam kurmo ganiva sarvashah
Very good.
Indriyani indriyanethebhyah samastya prajna pratisthita.
Yeah, let's do this again. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah
Indri
tasya. Yeah, let me just do this, then I'll just total focus. Let's listen. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. So let's do the third pada.
Indriyani indriyarthebhyah
Very good.
sam sat
Tasya, tasya.
tasya prajna pratisthita.
Right, you did the sandhi vichheda. The sa is gone. The sa became the visarga again. Okay? So, indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. Take advantage of the dirgha and the sanyukta. Take advantage of it. It gives you time. So listen to how Swami Brahmanandji does it. He takes his time. He gives himself ample time. Okay, Swati ji is done. Jiten, let's go for it.
Okay. Yada samharte chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyanindriyathebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita.
Yes. The only thing I would comment is when you do yada samharte, and that's I know a Hindi habit of moving fast. But in Sanskrit, every swara, whether it's you got to give it time. Every swara says, I want my time. You can't run away. You can't squeeze me. So yada samharate chai harate, right? So
Correct.
just practice, that's all. Aviralji, go for it.
Samharte chayam Purmognaniv sarvashah Indriyani indriyarthebhyah Tasya prajna pratisthita.
Very good. Let's do the first pada again. Yada samharate chayam. Let's do that. Take your time.
Yada samharte chayam
Yeah.
Purmognaniv sarvashah Indriyani indriyarthebhyah Tasya prajna pratisthita.
Amazing. I'm impressed, I must say. And the amount of interest, I think at least 8-9 people have, more than half of you have practiced, tried it. So you're getting good at it and you're more confident. You're comfortable with the sounds, and that's the secret. In the next 6 months or 3 months or 2 months, whatever time we continue this, you should be totally comfortable in pronouncing it. Okay.
All the seeds, the sprouted ones from the ones you threw around in the
Yes.
soil.
And it will be, some will be even more difficult coming forward, but I think this was a tough one. So I think you guys did a great job, and it's something to be proud of. So Rahulji, let's take the first question. Unless there is anyone, did I miss anyone? I covered everyone who wanted to chant. So Patha is very important. So if we someday go to the Veda Patha, which I'm not going to recommend right now, then this Patha becomes even more intense. But let's finish the Gita first, and then someday, if you want, we'll talk about the Veda. And my goal is to make it simple. The Vedic Patha is very complex, but it is beautiful. The same beauty you can enjoy with the Gita, which is much simpler. So it's called Shiksha. Don't forget that. Shiksha is to teach, but in the Vedic terminology and in our Sanskriti, Shiksha is to learn, to master every bit nuance of the pronunciation. Because if you pronounce it correctly, it will have the right effect. The mantra pronounced correctly can transform human beings, can transform your consciousness. And that's why it's so important to pronounce it correctly. And all we are doing is learning and mastering the joy of the language itself, just touching the joy of the rasa of the language, and the rasa of the language will itself give you that sense of the mantra. And if you can feel it, you will see that every shloka is complete. This shloka especially so. Despite all the complexity, it's complete. It's like a full box. Complete. There's nothing left outside, no sounds hanging outside. It's a complete work of music. And that in our traditional terminology, as we have described, is called a spota. Complete, like a firework. You burst it, the rocket goes up, boom, and that's done. Whole thing is done. Then you will do another spota. So it's complete. Remember that. The purnata is there. That is the beauty of the mantra. You're complete. If there is even one little thing mistaken, you will feel like, oh my God, something happened. I missed something. Something is not right. That is the beauty of the shloka. All right, Rahulji, can you please give example of senses and objects of senses? Yeah, if I'm seeing the drishti, right? That is a sense to see. And what am I seeing? If I have a pen, I'm seeing this pen. I'm seeing this laptop in front of me. That's all objects. These are all objects. Outside, traditionally, everything that we can see is an object. This bottle is an object. This phone is an object. However, now as we go deeper, then every object can turn into a form, akara. And later when you go to psychology, it has a name. So every object is what? Just a form, akara or rupa. Right? Or hearing, dhvani, you're hearing me. That dhvani is coming to you. So if you remember when we originally went into Sankhya, Shri Krishna keeps using that Sankhya, the framework of the Sankhya. So if we start the buddhi, aham, manas, right? Prakriti, buddhi, aham, me, aham, manas, your mind running around. Now what? The indriya. 5 indriya is jnanendriya. 5 indriya that gives you the knowledge of the world. And 5 indriyas, karmendriya. And we had talked about it. I think I made some diagrams in those days. So, jnanendriya, karmendriya. Then what are the indriyas connecting with? So, then you have the tanumatras. So, eyes, so the drishti will see something. Hearing, dhvani, touch, sparsha, all these. What are they coming from? They're coming from the 5 elements. What are those 5 elements? Very simply, earth, water, fire, air, and akasha. Right? So these are the objects of the senses. The bhuta, the elements come to us as tanumatras. And each element corresponds to a certain tanumatra. There it is. Yeah. Sometimes I like to read myself, although I find it interesting. Okay, so what did I say? Not too bad. Buddhi, aham, manas, external world, internal world. And then let's look at the gyan indriya and karma indriya on the right side. Speech, grasp, walk, procreate, and eliminate. These are the 5 functions you do. No matter what you may say, these are the 5 things you do. You make it as complex as you want. 5 things. And 5 senses, eyes, ears, skin, nose, tongue, which is hear, touch, see, smell, taste. Simple. In the outer world, this is not the outer world actually that we are seeing. It is a subtler, sukshma aspect of it. that gives you the elements. This element, this fire is not the real fire that we are burning. That's just a gross symbol of that subtle fire. So earth, fire, air, water, space. They turn into smell, form, touch, taste, sound. Each element has its own tanumatra. So I hope that answered the question. And this I copied from, ancient Sankhya texts. So they have very typical classical names for it, but I think in English these are reasonable. And if someday we can go to the technical names, but those are not important. All right, so I hope that answers the question. I can't find the other question. What was the second? Amal, you're too good, love it. Yes, Amal is. That's because Amal has the best hair. That's why. Okay, let's do Rajesh ji. Do senses feed the ego? I think yes, but want to confirm, asking again as it comes again and again in terms of how ego drives so much day-to-day life, day-to-day life work. Okay. So let's try to break this. Technically, your ego has its own entity. In fact, if you just withdraw to the ego, sense of the ego, even if you withdraw the ego sense from yourself, now listen to what I'm saying. This Pariksith standing in front of you, is that the ego? Or sitting in front of you? Is this name and form the ego? Actually, no.
It's a name and form, but I don't know about the
You've
ego.
just connected the two. You've identified your aham with this. But close your eyes and go to just that sense of aham. And suddenly that sense of aham is independent of your name and form. It has nothing to do with your name and form, eventually. You may say, it is my mind. And yet when you go to a pure sense of I, it doesn't need the mind. You may say, it's my feelings. And yet this sense of I doesn't need even your feelings. It is there as its own independent unit, which is why it's the ego. It's a unit. It can be free of all these things and still be there. So strong is its presence. And it is a creation of the Prakriti to keep life organized along a center. If I did not have an ego, if Rajesh did not have an ego, he wouldn't do any work. Everything would be flowing and nice, and he wouldn't be interested in anything. Jitan would say, okay, baby, who's baby? Not my child. It's just a child going by, if he even notices that. So the concentration of activity in this, it's a principle that concentrates, that takes. But it doesn't have to. So normally, senses feed your ego. Normally. I'm eating, I'm enjoying, I'm listening, great music. I played the violin, I'm speaking, I, me, ma, And suddenly you say, okay, I cut off the senses. Does the I sense go away? No. That is why in Vedanta you reach what is called Shuddha Aham, one of the doorways into the Atman. As Parthodada will tell you again and again, one of the doorways to the Atman is the Shuddha Aham. If you want to know the Atman, stay with this Aham Bhava. Just stay with it. And Maharshi Ramana constantly brings you to it. Who am I? He says, who is asking the question? Go back. What is this world for? Who is asking the question? Go back. Constantly he would push you back to this I, that is the center of all this. Now go to this I, and what is this I? And suddenly you realize everything else falls off. Just this sense of I remains. Now in that sense of I, if you can remain, that is the Shuddha Aham Bhava, then you can start seeing new things and you can start seeing the widening that happens. Atman also has an atmic bhav, but it's so vast. Aham bhav has that atmic bhav, but it's so narrowed and deformed and concentrated that the original purity of the Atman bhav is gone. Yet, if I say to you today that you exist, where does that hit you? It goes through the aham bhav. If I tell you right now, Aviralji, you don't exist, where will it hit you? That aham bhav. That aham bhav is carrying a note from that atmic bhav. Of course, it's very narrow, but somewhere it's carrying that sense that you are. It is coming through your ego. So, ego is a very powerful and a beautiful instrument. If we can learn how to use it, we can try to withdraw it. So the senses, normal ego, I'm not talking about the normal people. Normal people are not conscious. So they're not paying attention to the ego. It's all feeding the ego. You're absolutely right. Can you withdraw the ego? And this is one of the beautiful lessons of the Gita. Can you withdraw the manas can you withdraw the indriya from the tanamatra? Can you withdraw the manas from the indriya? Can you withdraw the buddhi from the manas? And buddhi goes entirely into the purusha bhava. Here, you can go direct. You can withdraw into the shuddha aham bhava and be there. And then stay with this question. Who is this I? What is this I? And don't answer it. Just stay with that bhava. It's a very powerful technique. One of the most simple, straight, cut right through the chase. So that's why Maharshi Ramana used to insist on it, and it's a very helpful technique. I hope that answers your question, Rajeshri, somewhat.
Thank you.
So I used to also think low of the ego. Now I've learned to respect it. I used to we all beat up the ego. It's a bad thing. It messes up. Yeah, we do that. But if we didn't have the ego, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. You wouldn't be listening. But now can you move into the new level? With that ego, can you move into your truer, what is called the self? That where the Atma comes. Use the ego as a tool, as a beautiful instrument. If we can do that, and that's what I think I learned from Sri Krishna. He uses everything as a powerful tool. And ego has a lot of power. It keeps us united, keeps us organized. So if we can turn that towards our journey of exploration, then it makes it easy. So are there 7 new messages? I'm sorry, I keep missing. Okay, follow-up question. Rahul ji, did you have a follow-up question? No.
Yes. It may be partially answered, Parikshitji. It was basically how do we withdraw from the sense? How do we withdraw the senses from the object? Practically in day-to-day life, anything from your experience or your learnings, and does it actually mean detachment?
How do you withdraw? Okay, let's give you a very ridiculous example. You are tired in the train, you're traveling in the train, and all your 10 friends are making a ruckus. And you're so tired, you put your head down and you fall asleep. Have you withdrawn? Yeah, unconsciously or involuntarily, you've withdrawn. When you go to sleep, what did you do? You withdrew. Now the world doesn't exist. Right? You withdrew. And when you go to the deep sleep, poof, even the world of dreams is gone. So you can withdraw. When you really want to do something, what happens? You don't care. You're concentrated. You're focused on that. Everybody can talk anything. Your wife is talking to you. Do you listen to her? I'm sorry. Bad example. You don't listen to her anyway. I hope she's not listening. But what happens? You are so focused on doing something. You're cut. You've already pulled yourself away. because your consciousness, your chitta is concentrated. So I hope that's a good example, very common. Shuddha Aham is equal to Purusha? Not yet, but it will take you there. If you stick with it, Shuddha Aham will take you to Purusha. We can't have that, equal to. It is the doorway. It is your fast door, quick door. You go to there was a whole Vedantic image. You go to a palace and there's a front door and you go through that like royalty. They open one door, another door, third door. And then Jiten says, forget this. I'm going to cut through the chase. He takes a side door and boom, he's inside. So that is how it has been described. One of the descriptions, which I heard 30 years ago. I had no clue what that meant. But now you can say, you go to the Aham Bhava, be there and poof. It'll take you to the Purusha. Direct. Because Vedantis don't care about, yoga. Vedantis just take you right through, cut through the chase. And that's what they do. Just that knowing, they'll take you to that knowing, right? That knowing that I am. Aham Bhava, I am. And then Swami Nisargadatta Maharaja, what was that? I am. That's it. The awareness that I am. There's somewhere you all know that I am, right? What is this I am? Who is this I am? So he would say, I am that. Remember that and stay with that feeling. And that I amness will take you to that. But you got to stick with it. That's a cut through, another door. Just go through it. Depending on you. Vedantis don't care about all these elaborate details. So I wouldn't say Shuddha Aham is the Purusha. Shuddha Aham is the doorway to the Purusha. And Swami Partho Anand will be happy to talk about that someday if you have your sessions with him. I hope you guys are still having sessions with him. Yeah, the best teacher in Vedanta that I know in the world today is Partho Dada. No one has such simple, elegant approach to Vedanta that I know. Of course, we had great teachers who have all left the body. Aviralji, our ahara, bhog, bhokta, bhojya, all related to the ego only. No, 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 no. Who is the true bhokta? There's an episode in the Mahabharata where Arjuna and Sri Krishna are talking, and I forget the shloka, so please forgive me. So they're talking, and who is the true bhokta? And you know what Sri Krishna says? I am the bhokta. Whatever is happening, you think you are enjoying it. But through you, I am enjoying it. The ego just thinks that it is enjoying. Ego enjoys nothing. Without your true Karana Purusha, the true inner being wanting it, the ego can enjoy nothing. And ego is a medium through. Think of it like a prism. I don't know if that's a sunlight going through and it becomes 7, the spectrum. Ego is just taking the world through it and it just shows it in a certain way. But that ego can, and you think I am the bhokta. I am the bhogi. No. The ego itself is being enjoyed by something else. So if you can remember that, I am being enjoyed. And Sri Krishna comes with this beautiful statement that all these yogis, all these great things are my food. Very strange thing he says in the 11th chapter. They are my food. To see they're coming to me and I'm swallowing them. So what we think, the ego, that ego is being, you think the ego now you have is, the personality you have now is the same as it was 30 years ago. It's constantly changing and it's going to change and one day it's going to dissipate itself. All the elements are going to return to the Prakriti. Then who is enjoying? The true bhokta is the Purusha. And then Sri Krishna says the true Bhokta is the Purushottama. And that is the truth. Right? Even in you, the true Bhokta is your true being. All right, let's see what Amal Kiranji said. It is a beautiful description of ego. It's just like gravity or any other organizing force like an electric, magnetic, nuclear forces. What are we talking about? Which description was that? Sorry, I missed. Are you talking about what we discussed?
Yes, Dr. B. At some
Okay.
point, you said that, look, ego is just a force that holds this Namarupa together. And
Yes. Yes.
I hadn't thought about it that way before. And then I extended that to gravity and said, look,
Yes.
even
Yes.
without
Okay.
gravity, the whole, all the elements are there, but
Yes.
that force is what gives it a name and a form and makes
That's
it
right.
the earth,
That's right.
And maybe that's a good way to think about ego. So we stop kind of fighting it and just think about it as another force of nature, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
Exactly. So you weren't thinking about it. That's why you have me to think about it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for
So
that.
no, but let's jokes apart.
Yeah.
So I see that we are identified with it. This is my pen. My pen. Well, if I take the my from it, then it's just a pen. Right? It's my gravity. Think about how silly it sounds. My gravity. And no pun intended, right? My electric force. Really? So this is all Prakriti is impersonal. Somewhere we concentrated the Prakriti into this unit called I. Somewhere. And it's a very powerful unit. I mean, 6 billion, 7 billion people are using this principle to unite, to organize, to synthesize their lives. It's a beautiful principle. Now we need to transcend that principle. It was useful till now. Now we turn that energy into something else. So I have realized something. Instead of fighting the ego, make it my best friend. I'm going to say something, weird, but if you turn the ego into your best friend, or at least a tool that is there, then yoga becomes easy. Very easy. Why should we fight it? It is a principle created by Sri Krishna, created by the divine. It is a principle to organize life in a certain way, right? Now Sri Aurobindo says, now the next stage of human life will be to a higher level of consciousness. Of course, agree. We have to transcend this. What will help us transcend it? What has come with us? What is with us? Let's use it. So as he points out, matter becomes life, right? Matter was there. Matter becomes life. Life becomes mind. Mind will become the supermind. He did not say mind will be destroyed. Mind, through the mind, something will come. Through the principles we have been given, the psychic being, the Agni Pavaka, the Chaitya Purusha, that will be able to open to the supermind. So the principle is already here with us. All these principles are given to us. Why should we turn away from this? So the ascetic way is to reject all this. Shri Krishna does not reject a thing. Ascetic way is to reject and walk away and reject this world. All this is Maya, blah, blah, yakety yak. No. We don't reject a thing. We accept everything as the divine. I'm just saying we, right? In Sri Krishna's vision, this is all created by Sri Krishna. In Sri Aurobindo's vision, this is all Leela of Sri Krishna, or whichever way you take it, or the Mahashakti's creation. So how can we say it's a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful friend you have.
Actually, I think we skipped over another question I had asked Dr. P, which was exactly that, which is, when we talk about rasa, we are talking about experiencing that. But the shloka that we just went through said that you need to withdraw your senses.
Yes.
So is there like some things we withdraw from and some things we want to experience? And if like the bhokta is Krishna, then
Yes.
like what prevents us from getting into like complete hedonism, right? Where I'm just pleasure seeking, and why is that wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay, let me point this out something to you, since you may or may not have thought about it. Do you really enjoy the things you think you enjoy? Tell me, what have you really enjoyed in the last 24 hours? Really enjoyed. When you sat down and had a cup of espresso, or I don't know, what do you make? Cafe, coffee day. What do you have in Starbucks, or a beautiful smoke? I don't know if you guys smoke, or a beautiful piece of cake, you ate it. Tell me something. Did you really enjoy it? You didn't. You never did. You thought you enjoyed it. You felt you enjoyed it, but you didn't enjoy it. And if you focused on it, if you gave it total attention, then you started touching that rasa. How many times do we pay attention in our 24 hours? Do we really pay attention? We don't. The moment attention is there, what happens? So tell me, when there is complete attention, are you identified, or are you completely free? Total attention. If there is total attention at this very moment, complete attention to everything, including this form and name called Amal Kirana, right? Or this Parikshit's name is there, but there is complete attention. What is there that that there is attachment to? So Krishnamurti had a very beautiful thing. He said, the flame of attention burns all residue. There is no residue when there is attention. Complete attention. He constantly brought us to that attention. No theory. He was another one. Forget all this intellectual things. Intellectual things just get us caught up. Complete attention. What is this attention? It's consciousness, right? You're going back to the consciousness. Consciousness is the key. Instead of talking about this theory, be conscious. If there is consciousness, boom. Consciousness is the bhokta, no? Wherever it takes you. So when there is withdrawal, is there more enjoyment or less enjoyment? You think it'll make you more capable of enjoying the rasa or less capable of enjoying the rasa? When you go back and you have your next cake, next coffee, you like coffee, it will be the tastiest coffee in the world. I'll give you a beautiful story. If you want to hear a story, I'll tell you. I love stories. So it'll give you, if you have
just
time.
yeah, absolutely, Dr. P. But just so my takeaway from that, and I think that was really beautifully described. One is that you're saying, look, we think we enjoy a lot of things because we are conditioned to think that way. We need to
Yes.
ask ourselves, are we really enjoying this, or is it my conditioning which says that this should bring me happiness? That's part
Yes.
one. The second part is that I think what you're saying, attention. There's been a lot of talk recently about the state of flow, right? And you're very right that if you're in that state of flow, your ego actually falls away. It doesn't matter who is in that state of flow, but you're just in that state of flow experiencing. And that could be a good distinction for what are you actually enjoying versus what you're conditioned to think you're enjoying, right? Okay. The story, please.
So flow is like the Tao.
Yeah.
If you have heard of the Tao.
Yeah.
And the flow cannot be talked about. First sentence of the Tao is the Tao cannot be talked about. Stop talking about it, because the moment you talk about it, you've ruined it.
It's gone. Yeah.
So attention, if I start talking about attention, your attention is gone. However, when you're attentive, everything gets burnt up. Okay, let's go to the story. I'm going to embellish it a little bit. I have 4 minutes. So there is this man who was troubled with life, a lot of problems, everything sucks. The whole world is terrible. And there's nothing. He loses his wife, loses his children, loses his home. There's nothing worth anything. Whatever he does falls apart. So, and he's not a yogi, he's a simple man. Okay, so he is told, go to this other village and see, hopefully you'll get better luck. So he goes through the woods, the forest. He's going over a little hill. He says, how much more can things be worse? And suddenly he comes across a bear, Bhalu. And Bhalu was not a happy Bhalu. Bhalu was very annoyed Bhalu. Bhalu had children, its cubs around, so messed up with the mother bear, you're finished. So the mother bear gives charge and runs after them. And he says, oh my God, how much worse can things get? So he's running. The Bhalu is faster. It's an angry Bhalu. He's not conditioned. He's not been exercising. So now what does he say? Okay, all right, let me try to climb this tree. Not realizing the Bhalu is better at climbing the tree. So he climbs this tree. He reaches the edge of the hill, the right of the ledge. So he cannot do anything. He cannot jump across. So he says, okay, let me climb the tree. Now I'll escape. Climbs the tree. Guess what? The Bhalu is better climber of the tree. So the Bhalu starts climbing. Can anything be worse than this? He thinks for a moment, right? In the heat of that, how much more can it suck? There's a huge sucking sound going, and it just sucks. Okay, so the Bhalu starts climbing, and the tree is like this, and stay with me here. This is the ledge, the tree is here, and the Bhalu is climbing, and the ledge is going like this. And he says, oh my God, now I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall off this cliff, and that'll be the end of me. Can anything be worse? So he moves up a little bit further, and he puts his hand in a beehive. And the bees are pissed off. They are not happy. They were doing fine. Now someone came and shook the tree. Not only did someone shake the tree, they bent it downwards. Now someone puts his hand in the beehive. How dare you? So now the bees go after him. Bhalu, nothing will happen to the bear. So now they're stinging him everywhere. Hands, face, everything is swollen. Can't see, eyes are closed, lips are sealed. Can anything be worse? And he's right at the edge. And suddenly he realizes he's leaning over. Look at that, through the slits of the eyes, he sees a little hole along the edge, the ledge. And there's a cobra ready. Now he cannot go down, he cannot go up, he cannot go sideways. Can anything be worse? Suddenly a drop falls on his forehead. It goes down like this, like this, like this, and he's gone, everything is over, and this drop comes over his swollen lips. And he licks it. And you know what that was? It was the honey coming from the bee. And for the first time in his life, he tastes it. And it's the tastiest drop of honey in the universe. That's the end of the story. Can anything be better than that? So we are missing the honey every moment. And that is the meaning of rasa. If we can touch that honey right now, you've touched the rasa. So withdrawing, going into it, honestly, has no meaning. Paying attention is. Consciousness is the key. Consciousness goes through everything. Consciousness is not limited by the body, by the mind, by the thought, by the feeling. by even your understanding, your concepts, nothing. Consciousness. So be conscious. Consciousness is the key, if that makes sense. It blows through everything. That's another door for you. Consciousness is the key. Blows through everything. If you can be attentive right now at this moment and appreciate that drop of honey on your lips with complete attention, it's over. Just stay in that and it's all over. It'll transform your understanding of the universe. That is coming, by the way, I think it comes from the Upanishads, this story. So I hope you remember it. It's 11:31. On that note, I think I can end unless there are any other questions. All right. Enjoy the honey that is on your lips. Pranam.